You are now entering the Queen's Quarter. We are powerful, strong, and rulers in our own right. There's a queen in you, there's a queen in me. Every woman is a queen.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Queen's Quarters. We welcome you back. It's been a full week and we have missed you. So we thank you for joining us again for this time. But we're here to gather and talk on our topic today, which will be teenage pregnancy. So as you can see, we're not alone. We have some guest panelists along with us to help share their experiences and kind of join in with us on this discussion. But you all know how we do. We got to do our roll call and our introduction first. So, of course, I'm going to lead. I am Queen Queenz, representing the 40s Club.
Hi, I'm Queen Emma, and I represent the 60s.
I'm Queen T, representing the 50s Club.
Hi, I'm Queen Ty. I'm repping the 50s.
Oh, hi. It's Queen Job representing the early 40s.
Hey everybody, I'm Queen Lady B, representing the late 30s.
Hi, I'm Queen Nye, representing the early 30s.
All right. So listen, these are our panelists that's going to shortly introduce themselves. We have Queen Tammy, and we also have Queen Joe here with us, and they're going to be assisting us in this conversation. Queen Tammy, do you want to tell us what club you're representing?
Hey, I'm Queen Tammy, and I'm repping the 50s.
All right, Queen Joe.
Hi, I'm Queen Joe, and I'm representing the late 40s.
Yes.
Right.
All right, Queen Joe. All right. So listen, we're gonna go into our teenage pregnancy, but then we know right now we got to go to Queen T for our tea time.
Yes, welcome. It is tea time with Queen T. Now, y'all know what we normally do. We usually we represent some type of tea, and then we sip on that throughout the episode. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to tell you about things that you can add to your tea. Not only make them taste good, but also it's going to add flavor, and it's also going to help improve your health. So today, instead of sugar, you can add honey, you can add agave sweetener, you can also add cinnamon or coconut oil. You can also add lemons, orange wedges, mint leaves, lavender oil, basil. You can just add different things to your tea, and just know that everything that we talk about here in Queen Tea time is going to be healthy for you. So get yourself a cup of tea and let's see what's going on in Queen's Quarters today.
All right. So get your tea and get ready to talk about teenage pregnancy. So teenage pregnancy right now is the stats say 3 in 10 American girls will get pregnant at least once before the age of 20. And nearly 750,000 teenage pregnancies every year. And parenthood is the leading reason that teenage girls drop out of school. More than 50% of teen mothers never graduate from high school. I don't know if you guys remember, or like they don't have it now where they would have, when the girls would get pregnant, they would have night school. They have night school, whatever. Now, I mean, I don't really know how it is going. We have hopefully and prayerfully, we'll hear from our actually Queen Joe has experience with Sierra House, and that is a non-for-profit organization that Queen Joe's going to give us some information on a little later. But we want to kind of go to our Queen Tammy now, because she has experience in this area. So we brought her on to share her experience with us and kind of give us some enlightenment on this topic. So Queen Tammy, thank you so much for being here with us today. We all grew up together. You know, her and my sister, Queen Ty, are more in the same age range. So I was a little baby running around, but Queen Tammy is definitely like an older big sister to me. And just share with us from your perspectives, Queen Tammy, how it was for you and during that time.
Okay. I first like to say hello, beautiful queens. I'm so excited that you all invited me to be a part of the conversation today. Yes, I was a teen mom. I got pregnant with my daughter at 16. I had her 4 days after my 17th birthday. You know what? And that was 34 years ago. So of course, times then is a whole lot different than times today. And you know what? Let me just start by saying, you know, if you are alive and God allowed you to have life, then He don't make no mistakes, you know. I really wish that was something that they would have told me when I had my child at 16, 17 years old, you know. And I get it. I'm not taking it lightly that it was an embarrassment and a shame to my mom, who was Jesus' best friend, saved to the bone. So it didn't make it any easier because I come from a background of a strong Pentecostal church, you know, where we all sing and, you know, in church 7 days a week. Some might even ask, how in the world did it happen? You know, but, you know, if you go to school, it can happen, you know, but, so it was, it wasn't good. You know, it was probably a time I probably should have enjoyed it, I'm sure, if I was older and more mature. And if they didn't shame me so bad, you know. Now, I can't lie, I had a great support system. My family is strong. We love real hard. But during the pregnancy, it wasn't good. You know, it was embarrassing to my mom, to the church, of course. And you know how the church is, even today, you know, that don't change. It's just not good for teen pregnancy or whatever, you know. If I could change anything, you know, I wish that they would be more supportive. I'm not saying, you know, be glad that your child is 14, 15, 16, having a baby themselves, you know, but a little love, a little support, you know, it goes a long way, you know. That was the things that I kind of missed while I was, you know, having my daughter, you know. And I was, you know, shamed, embarrassed, stressed, trying to figure out how am I going to take care of a child? And I'm a child myself, junior year in high school, you know, not even trying to, you know, I'm no maturity nowhere, you know what I'm saying? So if you know, I wish that someone would have set me down. It's a whole lot of resources out there today. It's different today than it was 34 years ago, you know. So, you know, it's a lot more support system and people, you know, they take people under their wings and they kind of give more advice and opinions and show love and everything. But those things that wasn't my story, you know. But, you know, if I could change anything, it would be to, you know, give support and love and, you know, because people don't make you feel good about mistakes. You know, you make mistakes and they hold that bag over your head forever. Like I said, she's 34. I'm a grandmother of 4 beautiful grandchildren, you know. It's crazy, you know, but and this is the funny thing. She was an adult when she got pregnant, but I didn't want her to go through the things that I went through. So me being hypocritical, I was mad at her and she was almost 30 years old, you know. I'm like, okay, if this ain't the pot calling the kettle burn, okay? Who am I to tell her she wrong, you know? But, you know, when you're a mother, you want the best for your children and your daughters and stuff, you know. You want them to be married. You want them to have, you know, success in their careers and everything. And it went a different way, you know. And my daughter sings, so she has ministry and everything. So, of course, I was embarrassed. I went through the same thing my mom went through, but I should have did what I felt like they should have did for me. I should have, you know, supported and loved her through it. And I think I got through it eventually, but you know, that would just be one of the things that I wish that any parent would just I mean, it hurts, but, get over it and, love and support and show them which way to take. Cause I mean, I was a trial and error mom, they didn't never really say, well, you can't do, and, maybe you should, they didn't do it because they was embarrassed. It was like, it was the forbidden thing, So, if I had that guidance, I think some of the mistakes that I made as a young mother, even dating as a young mother, I probably wouldn't have made them if I had that guidance, So,
if I could just interject, Tammy, I had my baby when I was young too. I was 19. I was out of high school. It was my first year in college. And I hid my pregnancy. I thought I was hiding my pregnancy because I feel like if I compare both of my pregnancies, but if I compare my first pregnancy, I think that with my oldest son, I think I started getting big like the day I conceived, And some people, like with my second son, you almost didn't know I was pregnant until I was like 8 or 9 months. But with my oldest son, it seemed like you could tell right away that I was pregnant. And, like you, I was hurt. I was born and raised in the church. I grew up in the church where my great-grandfather had started the church. So my family was heavily involved in the church. Mm-hmm. And my biggest thing was, even now when I look back on it, I feel like I didn't have nobody that I could turn to and say, you know what? I missed my period and I don't know what's going on. Would you go with me to the doctor? Because when you are going through that, I know for my own self, I got pregnant in like October. My son was born in July. And in November, in December, I was like, I must have had a period in November and just forgot to mark it down on my calendar. You know what I'm saying? And it was almost like February when I actually realized that I hadn't been having no period all this time. And at that point, like I was a choir director. So you talk about in the front. I was really in the front, And like I said, I started getting bigger. And years later, my father said to me, he said, I thought you was gaining a few pounds. But my aunt is heavy. So my father said, I thought you was just getting to be like your aunt. I don't want to name no names, but So my father was like, I thought you was just getting ready to be like Aunt so-and-so and Aunt such and such, because your mother got fat genes in her family. I thought it was just your time. But I didn't learn that until later. Because from the back, you couldn't tell I was pregnant at all. So because I was director of the choir, he really only got to notice me from the back, But like you, I felt, shamed and embarrassed because I was born and raised in the church. And that's just something church girls just don't do. First of all, you don't have sex.
Right.
Definitely you don't get pregnant. Right. And thirdly, you don't panic when you get pregnant. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like I had nobody. If I could give a message to the young girls of today, is that, and I feel like my children are not mistakes. You can't, your children, because God could not have blessed me with better. Both of my kids is doing praise and work. I mean, they're into praising and worshiping God. Both of them are ministers. I have wonderful grandchildren. If I could do it all over, I would still have those same kids. I just would have them a little later. You know what I'm saying? So I totally understand how you feel and where you've been on this topic.
Right. You're right. If I could do it again, I would have the same kids. I would just beat my son a little bit more. One, keep you on your knees. I tell you, one will make you pray more than usual, But I hid my pregnancies too. My daughter, I think my mom and them probably started to see something when I was like 6 months or 7 months. But I didn't tell nobody when I was pregnant with my son. I just went to the hospital and came home with a kid because you couldn't talk about it. You couldn't tell nobody. And everybody that, is, lost in teen pregnancy is not because they're promiscuous. It's because they really don't have no outlet. People don't talk to them, And that was my situation. My mom was in her 50s when she had me. I don't know what she was thinking, but she was in her 50s when she had me. And I'm the baby of 7. So my oldest sister is 71, so it's a huge, age gap. I guess at that point she was like, I don't even care, whatever, But I didn't have a lot of, of people back then in the 70s, 80s, 90s, they wasn't really doing that, So, but now it is a lot more resources. It is, where, you know, the young girls can get more help and, you know, don't have to, you know, I don't know, because of the color of my skin back then, I didn't feel beautiful. So I might have thought that my body was really the way to do whatever, you know, and it just kind of, it's a ways now. You can really talk to people now and get exactly what you need as a young woman if you really want it, you know. And we didn't have that back then, you know. So, you know,
and listen, and my children, I mean, I'm old enough to be your mother. Like my oldest son is 40 plus. I don't know exactly the number, but I know he older than 40. How old is he, Jancy?
44.
Okay, my oldest son is 44, you know. So I totally understand, you know, going back how you feel, you know.
Yeah.
And Queen Tammy, you said something very interesting because you had mentioned that, you know, using your body was a way of I guess getting love because of whatever other insecurities or things like that. I thank you for saying that because you know, we wonder why most of the teenage girls or most of us as women, period, get into some of the situations we get into. And it definitely can relate to low self-esteem in different areas of our life, especially growing up and trying to figure this thing out. And like you said, Queen Emma, not knowing or not having a trust factor or somebody that you feel can hold you accountable or somebody that you trust that you could talk to and about these things, because both of you hid your pregnancies. And Queen Emma, you have an older sister. Did your older sister know?
No, I have a younger sister, but I have a lot of older cousins.
And you didn't tell anybody?
I didn't tell anybody. I didn't know how. You know what? Because I was the princess. You know, that doesn't happen to the princess. You know what I'm saying?
Now,
the princess is perfect.
You have massive family too. You didn't tell anyone.
Not one soul.
You have some of the coolest sisters. You didn't
for real.
Right. Like
I couldn't fix my mouth to say that I was doing what I should not have been doing, you know. And you know, let me tell you something. The world make it so terrible now with the way they make women feel like they are beautiful with the weaves and the big butts and the this and the that and the third, you know. We have even more of a, you know, struggle and a push. I got one granddaughter and 3 grandsons, but my granddaughter, I stay in her ear, even though she's only 9. You know, look, this is, you beautiful because you think you're beautiful, not what the world say we are. Because if not, then you'll lose them into feeling like this is beauty and a man makes you feel, you know, accepted. And, you know, it's a whole thing. And I just wish that I had, you know, my sisters and them, they were older too. So they were old fashioned like my mom, you know, so I wish I just had people to just push me and say, you know, and granted, I'm telling you, my family is full of love, but they just wasn't as nurturing as I needed, you know, growing up, going to Westside High School, you know, it was a whole thing, you know, so I really wish that it was a little bit different, you know, in that area.
So Tammy, would you say the lack of support was where in your family, in your church family, like
definitely in my church, definitely in the church, you know, I grew up born and raised in this church. My mom raised 7 kids in that church and grandkids, and they made me rejoin the church again as if I was just a dirty sinner off, you know, like it was bad. I had to come in the front of the church, you know, apologize, you know, rejoin the church. And it was my birth church, you know. So now I'm totally embarrassed and shamed, you know, not even really, I loved my daughter from day one, but not really feeling proud to be her mom, you know, as beautiful as a girl as she is. I just, I felt like a total loser. I really did, you know, and that didn't help either, you know. So of course, my mom being older, if the church was making me feel that way, she ain't gonna be embarrassed in church. So, you know, she ain't gonna, you know, level up to what I needed her to be as my mom. Yeah. So, yeah.
And when you talk about the church perspective, okay, come on, Queen T. I know you.
No, I was going to say, I believe that something you guys said was so profound as far as you didn't tell anybody. And, you know, with the older generation, they had this saying, like, if you've grown enough to lay down, then like you grown enough to know what to do. And that's not true.
No.
You know, that just goes to show there's still levels of immaturity there and things that you just really don't understand and know, even though you did the deed. You understand what I'm saying? So I think that's an older generation mind state.
I was naive at its finest. I mean, I was still playing outside and the whole nine and tipping off at school, you know. So yeah, I just would have never thought, you know, that it would have happened to me. And, you know, without the wisdom and without the talks and without realizing if you're doing it, it can happen to you, you know. I just didn't think that it would, you know. So I was completely naive, completely.
And different from Tammy, when my oldest son was born, I have a family friend, God bless her soul. I just love her. She's like a godmother to me. And when I got a chance, when we finally told my father had just had back surgery. And that was in the day where you couldn't move after you had back surgery. And she was at the house. And when I told her, she and I sat down and told my mother. And then the three of us went and we told my father. My father sat straight up in the bed. They thought I was trying to kill my father. Oh my God, it was terrible. But after he got over the initial shock, my father embraced me as if I was his pride and joy. Through my pregnancy, when he got over the initial shock, by the time I told him I was about 4 or 5 months, you know. But he embraced me. He didn't make me feel shameful. You know, he accepted the fact that, you know, I got pregnant out of wedlock as a church girl, you know. And when my child was born, I mean, Reggie, everybody for a long time thought Reggie was my father's baby. That's how close that's how well he embraced him and covered him. And to this day, like, I attribute their biblical knowledge to their relationship with my father, because my father, my situation was just so different. My father wished somebody would have said something cross-eyed to me, like rejoin the church or don't sing in the choir or something like that. My father was saved, but he'd cut you, you know.
Right. Don't mess with my baby.
Don't mess with my baby. That's right.
I tell you, the church reaction, like and I'm glad you make the comparison, Queen Emma, because yours was completely different. And Tim, and you would literally had to go in front of the church, and that was the old school way. That was definitely the old school way. You go in front of the church, you admit your faults, everybody forgive you, we keep on moving. I think right now in this day and age, though, dealing with the contemporaries and millennials and things like that, that wouldn't work. Like you wouldn't be able to bring the young people up in front of no church like that and then expect them to still be able to come, hold their head up and be proud and be proud of themselves. That is more devastating than anything, bringing yourself to a point where you have to come in front of everybody else and you already feeling bad, like you said, Tammy. I gotta go in front of a church and I gotta sit over here and literally admit my faults, and then you still don't love on me and embrace me.
I couldn't even have a baby. Right. I couldn't even have a baby shower. I didn't have no baby shower. And me being a hypocrite, didn't want to give my daughter one because she ain't had no husband, but she was grown. I don't even understand.
Right.
It was like, you know,
but you see,
inspirational thing that just kind of kept going, you know.
Now let me ask you a question. Do you think that was because you was Pentecostal and I was Baptist?
Yeah, probably. Well, it could be. I told you my mama was Jesus' best friend.
Rumor have it that Baptist people was just a little freer than Pentecostal.
I never had a baby shower. Wow. Never had a baby shower.
But I have a question, because when I was a teenager and going to church, I've seen that done, where people have done something wrong and had to go in front of the church and tell everybody, you know, what they did and ask for forgiveness and all of that. Is that biblical? And I'm asking anybody on the panel, is that biblical? And where did that start?
That still happens though, Tracy, but in different incidents, like in different situations, that still happens to the day.
I know, but what I'm asking is that biblical?
It's definitely not. It's definitely not biblical. You know, it's just an old school tradition where they feel like, you know, you shamed us, so now you ought to apologize to us about what you did. When the Bible only say restore such a one. And, you know, I wasn't restored restored. I just was beaten, with many stripes. And you know what it did? It pushed me back out there 3 years later.
Wow.
And, I did it again. I was 20, but I did it again, at the same time, I was never restored. And, they didn't love, it say with love and kindness have I drawn. That's what the Bible said, and they didn't draw me back, so it pushed me further out, as opposed to drawing me back in and let me realize, okay, you messed up, don't, watch what you're doing and, cover yourself and, be a lady, none of those things. They only taught heaven or hell. They didn't teach nothing else in between. They didn't teach that this is a real life and you're going to make these mistakes, or whatever the case is, and love you through them. They didn't love you through mistakes. They just, I don't know. And a lot of churches are really still that way.
And that's what I was about to say. Unfortunately, it's still the same way. Like that's what we have to see, like how to change the mindset and people mindset and let them know that we're human. Like
absolutely.
We need to be loved. We need to be taught right, and not shamed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the key is to teach abstinence. That's the key. I mean, they told us abstinence, but they didn't teach abstinence. It's a difference when you're telling somebody don't do it, as opposed to teaching. Teaching is a whole different phenomenon,
Absolutely.
And that's what we have to do with our young ladies at this stage. We have to teach them right from wrong. We have to teach them how to remain abstinent. We have to teach them what to do, because sex is normal. I mean, and if you've had sex before, you will want it again. I mean, it's hard to give it up after you've had it. The reality of it is, I mean, listen, we Queen's Quarters and we put it out there.
True.
But if you had it before, you're gonna want to have it again. You know what I'm saying? It's like Pepsi. You had one before, you want to have another one. But it's hard. I'm it up, but I'm still, putting my Pepsi down.
And you know what? That's funny.
Is we have to teach our young girls what to do. How do you react when your body, says, you know what I'm saying? I have the desire for intimacy.
Right.
That's good.
It definitely needs, she's right. Yeah, absolutely right. It definitely needs to be a conversation, and the issue comes in when you don't talk about it and when you do stuff like, just because I said so. Don't do it because I said so.
Yeah, man.
Because the inquisitive mind, and kids, they're going to do very opposite of what you say because you said it. Because they want to find out. But Queen T, you was going to share something.
Oh no, I was going to say we had an episode not that long ago where we had this kind of conversation before about sex education in school. And like I was saying, that was one thing that was like, it was like a snippet, like, you know what? But we don't condone you having sex. And then that was it. But we teach you how to use the condoms. We teach you how with the man part, the woman part, like we got all of that. But we didn't really learn, like Queen Emma said, we have to teach abstinence. We got to teach our girls how important they are, and their bodies are very valuable. Like those are the things that we need to stress more instead of how to have sex. So yeah, I think that's important.
Especially in a world that promotes sex and teen moms. I was bugging when I saw the show that come on MTV that's called Teen Moms. Like it's like a glory seat. Yeah, absolutely. It's a glory seat now.
Yeah, we're definitely in a different time. It's a young man that my daughter watches all the time, and he's a teenage dad. And when I tell you, he started YouTube probably within 8 months. He was viral within 8 months, millions of viewers, and he was only showing his baby and the baby mother, and like their babies, and that's why he was really good in basketball, left basketball just to be full-time on YouTube with his daughter. And he said he figured with this now living, you could be on YouTube, and he's a YouTuber, famous YouTuber now, making money and not playing basketball anymore, and that's his life, filming him and his daughter's life, But right now, you couldn't, like you said, shame from years ago, you couldn't do that. But now it's just what it is. It is what it is at this point. Nyjah, now that's bringing us into a younger perspective. We have our Queen Nyjah with us. She's actually from Sierra House. So before Queen Naija comes on, we're gonna have Queen Joe come on because she works at Sierra House, just to kind of give us an idea of Sierra House and its foundation. So Queen Joe, the floor is yours.
Hello, ladies, Queen ladies, how are you?
Hello.
I am representing the Sierra House. Sierra House, I just recently came on board as of January. Um, Sierra House is what we call a transitional house. It's a program that tends to young ladies between the ages of 18 and 25. These young ladies can be single young ladies, or they can be young ladies with children. I do not know all the ages of the young ladies here in the house. I would say I think everybody is in their mid 20s all the way up to late 20s. Um, we have had some, you know, what Sierra House does is they also not only look after the young ladies, but if there is a young woman that is in need and they are able to help her, they do so. So, some of us can be in Sierra House as old as their late 40s, um, with children that are older, of course. But what we do here, we teach them, well, I'm going to tell you what our mission statement says, which will give you a perspective as to what we do here. Our mission statement states, Sierra House is to improve the prospects of individual achievement for the homeless, youth with developmental disabilities, and low to moderate individuals and families through housing, education, life skills, and community services, and thereby contributing to the long-term stability of our community. So basically what we do is we teach young ladies here how to go out and make it in the world. As far as, housing, what they have to do. So here at Sierra House, they have chores that they carry on for 2 weeks. They have one chore that they carry on for 2 weeks. Um, we teach them life skills as far as how to, lately we just did something with managing their money, correcting their credit, because a lot of the girls are running into that brick wall where they try to go for apartments and they can't because of their credit.
Mm-hmm.
So we have something going on here where we've been teaching them life skills to help them get over that hump. They are working on now presently to pass a bill that a young woman's credit will not interfere with her getting housing, because it has been happening to a lot of our young ladies here, along with some other issues. But we do teach them how to go out into the world. The program usually from 6 months to a year, and then they transition out. As far as the young women here with children, I try to do whatever I can as a mother. You know, um, Queen Tammy was talking about the church. I wasn't young as a tween. I was in my 20s when I had my first son, but I was directing the choir and all that other stuff. And I'm from a Pentecostal faith too, so they used to sit you on the front seat. But I didn't do that. I don't think my mother was playing that, and my mother was best friend too. Um, so I didn't go through some of the same things you went through. My pastor and his wife, the wife was my mom's best friend. So they embraced me. I didn't get the baby shower, but we had a function at church and they gladly walked over to me and gave me a gift for my son. They embraced me. They gave me love. I didn't feel or experience any of the things that you went through, not even with my mom. So and I guess because I was a little older, but I sung in a choir and I directed the choir. I did some of the same things, and it wasn't so bad. I didn't have the experience, but I do talk to the girls here and try to encourage them, to give them a different light. Some of them are raising their children, and they find it difficult. If I hear something that's out the way, I try to talk to them to let them know, like, you can't do this like this, because in actuality, they just came here, they didn't ask to come here, you can't. So you try to get them to be better mothers, and also give them information, like to let them know that if you do have sex again, it can happen again. More than one child. So take precautions, think of yourself. Do not think of the man, because, as a teen mom or any young mother, sometimes that man walks away and you're stuck raising that child by yourself. And so, just give them information to help them, so not the same mistake, but not be in the same place that they're in now, and you have to worry about two kids. And then you have those mothers that will say, I'm not going to have the second child, I'm going to get rid of it. So if you give them information and teach them how to protect themselves, it's just a simpler thing, go to Planned Parenthood, or, abstinence. Don't do it at all, because you never know. Once you do it, you can be pregnant again.
Can I ask, how are they referred to your program?
They are referred to our program. One of them is from, I think, 211. You can look us up on the program Bridges,
Okay.
House, Apostle House. Like, a lot of those places have referred us clients.
So it's through a social worker, more like a social worker type. Like if I was a young girl and I was out here on the street, how would I know about your program?
You would know about our
Are you referred to by like prenatal care places?
I'm not sure about the prenatal care places, but that one number, that information number that they have, if you get on the phone and you ask about places that take in young women, they will give information for the Sierra House.
Okay.
So we do ask women how they hear about us. So they do tell us they heard about us through the internet, they heard about us through 211, or by word of mouth, because someone has been either a resident here or know about it, and so that they tell them.
Is there a screening process?
Yes, you do come in and meet with the social worker for an interview. She asks you questions. She lets you know what the program is about, because when you come into the program, you have to be ready for our program, because we're not a regular shelter.
Okay.
You have to follow rules and regulations. If you don't follow the rules and regulations, you can be discharged from the program.
Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. I used to work at a soup kitchen a few years ago before the pandemic started, and we would have a lot of people who would come down to the soup kitchen, and some of the young girls, like, we would find that they were pregnant or whatever, and we would try to get them information as to, places that's available to young pregnant young ladies.
We have one here now. She's actually due in a few weeks.
Oh.
Walking around here, big as the moon. I can't wait. Her name is Ivana, and I call her by her name. So when she comes out, she's gonna know her name. And we had one that left here last year. From what I understand, she was the first baby born in Sierra House last year. Her name was Genesis, and I just had her mom this morning. Her mom calls every now and then, and check on her. We do check on girls, or they call us or call me, and keep in contact, yes, with them. And I still do what I do. I try to encourage them and let them know that they are loved always.
That's right.
That's good. That's good.
That's right. Well, speaking of the residents at Sierra House, we have Queen Naija. She's a past resident of Sierra House, so we wanted to kind of bring her on to share her story. And Queen Naija can tell us too how she kind of made her way to Sierra House. So Queen Naija, you can hear us? You on?
Yes.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
I'm fine.
Good, good. All right. Well, Queen Joe just kind of gave us an overview of Sierra House, but we would love to hear your story, just on teenage pregnancy and your experiences, and even how you got introduced to Sierra House and how they've helped you.
I was 15 when I got pregnant with my first child. I was basically the first person in my whole family to get pregnant at that young age. So I pretty much was being sneaky. My mother will be at work and I'll be inviting my little boyfriend over and just doing it because in my age range, that's fun. Like that's like hip. If you're having sex, that's hip.
Wait,
if you having a baby,
how old are you right now? I'm sorry. How old are you?
26.
26. Okay. All right.
So it was when I was in high school, it was fun having a baby. Like, oh, she got a baby, she grown. Like it was just like everything to do. And I was like, I want a baby. And I was 15. So I knew what I was doing. But I knew if my mother found out, she was gonna kill me. I was 15 when I got pregnant, like I said. I went all the way up to 6 months. My mother didn't know a thing. I was faking like I was getting a period. Oh, I'm sleepy, Mom, and she was just like, wasn't paying no mind because my mother had 5 of us in the household. So she just was working, running back and forth to work. My brothers, they was in the street. And my sister was way older than me. So nobody wasn't really paying attention to what I'm doing. I started feeling movement in my stomach around 6 months. And I got scared because I wasn't feeling nothing before. I was feeling like little waving and somebody was like, oh, that's normal. But 6 months, I started feeling kicks. So I was one night, my son wouldn't stop kicking me so hard. And I was crying in the room, curled up on the floor, wearing big t-shirts and stuff. And this day, my mom, I'm thinking she's going to stay at work late. So I'm on the phone with a friend. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in pain. I don't know what this is. I wasn't going to the doctor, none of that. I just knew I was pregnant. And I was counting out how many months I didn't have no period. So my friend was like, oh, you better hope you're not in labor. I said, what is labor? She's like, you know, the baby got to come out. I'm like, what you mean the baby got to come out? And my mother standing by my door, ear hustling.
Wow.
She come in the room with us. She stepped back, went in her room and we used to call this belt. She used to call her belt Black Queen. And this belt was so thick. It was so thick. So when you seen that belt, you knew she was coming. And she said, surprise, surprise, who pregnant? I said, I'm not pregnant. She said, I'll sit by this door for a good 15 minutes. What you mean you pregnant? How did you get pregnant? My mother, before she went to go whack me with the belt, she wanted me to take off my shirt. She said, take off your shirt. I said, no, why you want me? And my mother, she was strong. My mother grabbed me by my hair, pulled my shirt up, and she said, oh my God. And she just started crying like, all this stuff I've been preaching, I had a baby at a young age, and this is what you're going to do? She like, I can't. Like, she got on the phone with my grandmother. My grandmother is a minister, and my aunt is a pastor. Wow. She said, I don't know what to do. My grandmother said, don't hit her. You're going to kill her. She's pregnant. Don't hit her. My mother just had her hand by my hair with a tight grip where I couldn't move. And she was just like, she was just going crazy. And I began to start crying because now I'm just like, now reality is set in. She like, you got to get out my house. You got to go get a job. You need to be able to provide for that child because she said, I'm not providing for that child. She said, you decided when she said, my grandmother put my mother out when she had her baby. So my mother was like, listen, you're going to have to fend for yourself. Find out, is welfare out here, different programs? She said, because you can't stay here. I got too many mouths to feed already. So I was crying about the fact that, shoot, everything not about to be free no more. I got to go out and figure this out by myself. So down a few days later, she calmed down. She did a good grip on my hair because she pulled a few braids out that I had. And after a few days, she come in the room and she was just like, I can't be upset with you because I made these mistakes too. And my mother shut the door on me and it made things hard for me. So she was like, we're going to go to the doctor, because she wasn't taking me to the doctor. She's like, you're going to figure it out on your own. And so she took me to the doctor and they found out I was high risk. I had diabetes, gestational diabetes, because I was pregnant. The baby was already about 5 pounds and I was only 6 months. I then became, had high blood pressure. It was just bad. I was high risk and everything was just hitting me at once. I was stressed, And long story short, I ended up having my baby. And my first son, he died. He ended up dying from SIDS. He was 3 months old. My mother showed me everything on how to be a mother to him and nurture him. So after my baby died, it was just like, it took a spiral on my life, basically. I was young, coming to school and all the kids like, dang, where your baby at? And it was just like, like everything was just so overwhelming for me. The friends I thought was my friends wasn't there no more. I was just alone. And my child father at the time, he was abusive, beating on me. And I thought that was love, black in my eyes, doing all kind of stuff to me. So I was just going along with whatever was coming my way. I was hurt. I was frustrated. I was more upset with myself because I hid the whole situation.
Right.
Then what I did was I thought I could bring my baby back by getting pregnant again. Because I'm like, I spent 3 months with my baby and my baby not here. Wow. I ended up getting pregnant again. I was 16, ended up having this baby at 17. Wow. And my son, he's here. He's 8, he'll be 9. And my mom, this time around with the pregnancy, it was just more like she was consoling me because she knew what I was going through. I went through suicidal attempts. I went through a lot of things, losing my first child. And with the second child, it was not easy. My mother didn't make it easy for me because she didn't want me to feel like, okay, you're going to keep having babies. No, she only babysitted when I went to school. If I had to take my baby to school because she had to work, I had to take my baby to school. Financially wise, I ended up getting my first job at Checkers. And I was able to, buy diapers, buy wipes. At that time, the child father, he wasn't nothing, still beating on me, sleeping with my friends, sleeping with other girls. But it was cool to say I was his baby mama. And I was stupid and dumb, like, oh, that's my baby daddy. Because that was, in high school, you got a kid and your baby father, he cute and he popular, you in. You get what I'm saying? So, after I had my son, I graduated high school, ended up leaving my baby father alone, landed home health aid job by doing the classes. I got the class through welfare, ended up getting a home health aid job, worked there for a few, but making good money to sustain a 1-bedroom apartment with me and my son. I ended up going back to the father. This is what landed me to be homeless again and ended up in the Sierra house. I went back to the father, started letting him come back in my life, quit my job, because he thought that because I was at work, I was sleeping with people at work or meeting guys to go sleep around. So I had to quit the job. I couldn't go to school no more. I couldn't do nothing. I had to be under his eye watch. If I wasn't under his eye watch, I couldn't go there. I couldn't be there. Long story short, I ended up losing my apartment, ended up being pregnant again. I went and stayed with a friend, and the girl, she ended up, me and her got into it. You never stay with your friends because then you realize who the two women can't live together. That's just that. Me and her ended up getting into it. I had my second son, and I ended up being homeless. I went to welfare. They was like, oh, you got to get cash. We can't help you unless you get cash. And at that time, I was scared of him putting child support on him because the threats he had made. So I'm like, dang, I can't go to welfare and do this. And one of the girls there, she was actually in the Sierra at the house at the time. And I'm like crying there. And she was like, you know, what's wrong? And first I wasn't going to tell her because I'm looking at her like, why you all up in my business? But then I ended up talking to her, having a talk with her. She was like, well, I live at the Sierra house and they rent, you know, they give, you know, housing for women with children and help you build a stability for yourself. And you can stay there until you financially stable. And I'm like, okay. She gave me the number. And I called there, and it was at the time the director name was Halima, Miss Halima. Mm-hmm. And I was telling her my story, and she was like, you know, just come in. And at first I'm like, you got to do an interview to get in the shelter? I'm homeless. I ain't got nowhere to go. Well, I got to do an interview. And I'm looking at her, she looking at me. And I was just like, you know, she asked me all these questions. I said, can I please just say something? I'm really homeless. After I leave out of here, I don't know where I'm going with me and my baby. And she looked at me and she was like, you know what? I got a room available for you and your 2 kids. And, you know, you can come to the shelter. So I ended up going back to the girl house, getting my stuff and moving in the Sierra house. That was the best decision I made for myself because I ended up finding myself because I used to think I was ugly because I was fat. I used to go through those because when me and him were arguing, he'd be like, you fat this, you fat that. So I became self-conscious within myself. Didn't think I was pretty enough for anything, all of that. And now I had 2 kids and I was scared like, oh my God, like, you know, he would say, ain't nobody gonna want you. You got 2 kids. Right. And he would embed these things in my head. So I was just stuck like, well, this is my life. This is who I am. He'll be like, oh, you a bum. You ain't going to never be nothing. And I just was stuck in those ways until I met Miss Holly and Miss Marcia. Nice. They built me up and helped me know that it was okay to, you know, just be a woman. Like, it's okay to go through insecurities. I didn't know that it was okay for that. You know, they helped me find myself and find my inner beauty within myself as far as knowing that I'm capable of. I had a bad temper when I came to the Sierra house. They helped me work on that. They helped me get stable. I had a stable job. I was getting Medicaid through them, which I was working at FedEx. I was the lead. She helped me do the job application. I ended up getting a job. And ever since then, I've been stable. And they even helped me now. I just moved into my income housing. Yes. And they helped me do that. They put that application in for me, like, 6 months ago, maybe? Miss Marcia did. Yes. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to get it that quick. She was like, just pray and believe God. And for a long time, I have not been praying and I have not been believing because everything just, you be feeling like, I'm going to say this, everything back hitting me. And I'll be like, well, if God is here, like, you know, and my aunt is a pastor, Heavenly Temple Holiness Church. She is the pastor of that church. And she was like, you know, you doubting God, but what are you doing to, you know, you got to have faith. What are you doing to get that house? What are you doing to get that job? What are you doing? You got to manifest and believe in whatever you want. God can't just throw something in your lap just because you thinking it. You got to manifest that and pray for that. You got to have faith for that. So as I'm getting older, I'm 26, I'm still kind of young, but as I'm getting older, I'm learning to be more voiceful for myself, but not angry, voiceful. Be able to say, no, this is not what I want to do. And I'm learning to walk away from certain situations. I'm able to be a better mother because being a young mom, it don't come with a handbook. You make a lot of mistakes. I was getting frustrated. I was getting angry. I would be taking all, and I felt like, you know, my aunt used to say, you can't say the devil using your kids. The devil is using you. He ain't using your kids. You just got to get right because now you talking about the devil using your kids. Your kids ain't being used. You need to get more close to God. Because I used to be like, these kids are driving me crazy. And I had 2. And they was back to back. And I'm like, this is just too much for me. I would cry and all of this stuff. So now what I'm at in my life is I'm putting all my faith into God.
Yeah.
As far as believing, because God has been making a way, especially through this pandemic.
Absolutely.
He's been providing food for me and my children and everything. And I thank God for that.
Yes.
And I'm now with someone that loves me for me.
Yes.
And treating me the way I need to be treated, because
Amen.
for a long time I have not had that. So I thank God for that too. And now I'm an adult, and now I'm not a teen mom, and I'm embracing my 3 children that I have.
Awesome.
That's such an awesome testimony. I just want to add in a point though. Things still ain't gonna always be a bed of roses. It's still gonna be hard. You know, I got grown kids, and trust me, it's hard when your kids are adults. But what you have to do is always remember that God got your back. Mm-hmm. See, that's what's important. People want to feel like, you know, every time things is good, yeah, God looking out. And then when things are bad, you be like, yeah, where God at now? But God's still there. He's still there. You just have to understand, and this is just in general to the audience too. God is still there. You just have to understand that he's carrying you through the storm. That's right. Because you're going to run into storms in your life. Things are going to happen that you're going to sit and you're going to curse. Sometimes I curse. You understand what I'm saying? I'll cuss in a minute, you know, but it does not mean that God is still not, God got my back. I know God got my back. And when things get bad, I sit down and I tell God, I'm like, listen, I'm listening to your word. I'm studying your faith. I'm studying your word. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And this is still in my face. So I know this is just a test to give me a testimony.
Right.
So when you start going through things, because you young. I'm young. We all gonna go through things, always. And I want you to still have that same faith and that same strength and that same testimony to say, you know what, God, this is hard as hell, but I know you got me. And it's rough. You're gonna cry sometimes. But you know what? Just say to yourself, but I know God got me. I don't like this feeling, but I know God got me. And it's gonna help you. It's going to help you because you're going to go through some issues. We all are. We all do even now. I'm 61 and I still go through stuff, but I know God got my back in spite of my sin. I'm not perfect. I still sin. I sin. I probably did something today, probably 20 minutes ago. You understand what I'm saying? We all, because the Bible says, for all have sinned and fall short. So we all have sinned. But when that happens, you have to still maintain your faith. I don't want you to feel like, you know, now everything is good. God got you. And then as soon as the stuff hit the fan, you know, you be like, yeah, where God at now? He's still there. He's just holding you. That's for everybody.
I've been in situations, and I know it's a God, and I won't say that because I can't complain. My mother right now, stage 4 cancer. She beat it one time and going through it again. And I used to be to the point where I used to be so discouraged that I was just like, well, like you said, where's God? Why he ain't showing up? I need my mother. And now I'm to a point where it's like, I can't complain because it's somebody who already lost their mother.
Exactly.
It's somebody who out there doing worse and bad off than what I am. So I can't complain about nothing. Any fork get thrown in the road, is either I'm going to jump over that obstacle and get through it and keep it pushing. You got to go through, because if you don't go through something, what would your life be?
Exactly.
Naija, can I ask you something? What would you say to the young women that are younger than you, that you can give them some encouraging words? What would you say to them that need help?
I got 2 nieces. One of them is 17, and she just had a pregnancy scare. And I'm going to say what I said to her. It may feel good. It may be the boy may be telling you he love you and all of this stuff, but nothing like that ain't going to be forever. By a year or 2, it's going to be all over and done, and you're going to be having this child. And it's going to be alone, because I'm doing it alone. My son is 8 years old, and I'm doing it alone without his dad. It's not worth it. You could wait. Even if you feel like you can't wait, go get birth control, Depo, the ring, something, because protect yourself from, use condoms. That's the best way, because it's going to protect you. Because you ain't just going to have a baby. You could get an STD that you can't get rid of.
Right.
So pull around. You get what I'm saying? Because these boys that tell you, I love you, boo, and smile up with you and then got another chick across town. So you can't, I tell my niece all the time, that pretty face of yours gonna get you in trouble. Because that's what these boys looking at. Oh, she pretty, she got a big booty. Oh, she got them little shorts on. You know how many other girls out here got them little shorts on, pretty face, big booty? So if I was you, I'd keep my cookie to myself. That's what I would tell them.
That's right.
That's all right.
That cookie to myself. I know that.
That's right.
Wait till you get grown.
Yes.
Yes, make them wait for it. If they can't wait for it, that ain't your man. You got to go.
Say
It
that.
got time or no time.
Say that. Say that.
I just want to take a moment and say I thank you, ladies, for your testimonies and for sharing that with us. And even as I sat here today, I learned some things because, and I'm older than half of you guys or most of you guys on this panel, and I learned some stuff today because I grew up in a house with all girls. And this story, Queen Nadia, that you shared, is so familiar. I'm like, oh my God, this probably happened in every Black household at some point in time. Not every Black household, but a lot of Black households at some point in time. And what I heard was we have to start talking as parents. We have to start paying attention because we are so caught up in the society where it forces us to work, and then a lot of the fathers are not in the home. So we're doing double time and overtime and triple time to keep things going. Yeah. But we have to find that time to talk to our children. We have to find time to, just what's going on with you? Right. What's going on in your life? What are you thinking? And just really being real with our children and also understanding we had the ladies on the panel, all the queens, we had a discussion about maternal health. And we know that childbirth is very serious. A lot of people lose their children and sometimes their own life during childbirth. Absolutely. Queen Tammy, when you shared stress that the adults put on you as well as the church, that could cause you to lose your life, not just your baby, but your life. Right. So I learned so much today from this panel. So I just thank you ladies for just sharing.
And even when Queen Naija shared that she was suicidal because she lost her baby, and I thank you, Queen Naija, for your testimony in general, Tammy, everyone that came on, because even when you had mentioned the teenage show that comes on television, most of those teenage mothers was excited. They had formed a bond. It was like 6 or 7 of them. And they said, we all gonna get pregnant together. And that's how it started. And this was like a popular thing. So when Queen Naija shared, it was popular to be pregnant. It was popular to have a baby. Wow. Like that's what you're thinking. So Queen T, thank you so much for saying we really have to form that relationship. And even if you don't have a daughter, like Queen Naija said, she have nieces. You got nieces, you have cousins, you have friends, you have friends that have daughters. We got to play our part and we have to tell our baby girls, like Tammy said, baby, you beautiful. I don't care what you're saying. I don't care what the body imaging is happening. Absolutely. You are beautiful the way you are. And Tammy, like you said, being dark skinned, we had a show where we talked about what I got called tar baby.
Yes.
All those names, you hear me?
Yes.
Up,
my because I was skinny.
Right. You grow up with all of these young boys and people just calling you certain things because of what is definitely not weaknesses, but what they see as being a weakness in you. Because it's not a weakness. Right. The colors and being beautiful and skinny, all of that, it's not, some cultures don't even have to go through that. What we kind of go through as growing up and stuff. But thank you so much for the story, for the testimony, because we overcome by the blood of the Lamb, the word of our testimony.
Yes.
And Queen Nija, don't stop talking.
Absolutely.
You have a wonderful, beautiful story
Powerful
that you have got to share. And I thank you for allowing this platform to be where you first started and sharing your testimony, because somebody else need to hear about being in a relationship, a battered relationship, a domestic violence relationship in your teenage years. You had black eyes at the age of 15. Now that's serious. And most of us don't go through that on this panel. So you shared so much. So I encourage you as a young queen, continue to tell your story. My daughter overheard your story and she was literally sitting there like, wow. And she's 10. So thank you. Don't stop sharing your story. You hear me, Queen Nija? Share your story. I so appreciated everything you shared. Queen Tammy, you radiate strength and power anyway, just on your family and who you are. So you will continue to do what you do anyway. So I just thank you for being a part of this platform. Queen Joe, y'all, it took prayers of the righteous to get Queen Joe on here because she didn't even want to come on.
Cousin.
I'm glad I did.
Righteous.
I'm glad I did.
I'm so glad you did too, because we definitely could not have done this without you all. Queens, some queens on the platform didn't get a chance to share.
That's what I wanted to say. If each one of us queens could say something that will encourage a young lady, that I think that would be so profound. So the ones that didn't say anything, could you start off? And Queen Nine, could you start off?
Hi guys, you can hear me?
Yes.
I just want to say thank you, Queen Tammy, Queen Nija, even Queen Joe, for the resources. It was beautiful. Queen Nija's story, like I know I was just like looking, but it was just like, wow, I'm in awe. Like that sounds like a movie. A book can come out of that, and even a movie. But based on everything she had told us, it's telling young women that they can still make it. They can still make it through whatever, anything that was rough and tough. But my situation when it comes to teen pregnancy is a little bit different. It's a few things that happened when I was growing up. So when I was real young, I had a cousin. She was I guess a teenager at the time. If I was like under 10, right? I didn't see her for about a year. I didn't know until 5 years ago that she went down south because the church she went to didn't accept it. So I'm like, wow, back then, you had to go down south when you had a teenage pregnancy or when you was too young to be having babies. So I was like in all of that. But in my family, my father was a teenage father, had my oldest brother at 15. My great grandmother had my grandmother that's still alive today when she was like 14, 15. Wow. And my grandmother who has passed away, my mother's mother, had my aunt at 15. So like, it was always around my family. It was always known, but that just wasn't my story. But I have even cousins that went through it. I seen them struggle. My goddaughter is 11 and I'm 30. So right before college, that's when my cousin told me she was pregnant. So I'm just like, wow, but y'all can still make it. People still make it. And I'm proud of my cousins. I have more than one cousin that I even live with in the building that basically have several kids. One of my cousins that's 30 have 4 kids. Somebody that's under 25, I believe she on her 5th kid. So it's just like, although they went through all of this, they were teenage mothers, they had kids young, they still making it, they still empowering others. And I don't knock them for it. I don't overlook them. I don't think I'm better than them. I applaud them that they continue to do everything they need to do for the kids, my little cousins. They're like my nieces and nephews, but I said all that to say this. Now that in my age group or my generation, there's like a lot of resources. They have help, they have programs, they had Planned Parenthood, of course, even when I was growing up. They have welfare programs. People support it. It's even like y'all said, a TV show. So it's just like, I'm not saying it's the norm, but it's like you have a little bit more support now.
Yeah.
But I believe the root causes of teen pregnancies, it can be like poverty, a lack of sex education, peer pressure, the media, low self-esteem, or just not having family support that you need. Like for instance, if you grow up in a household when there's like 5 other kids, you want that attention. So maybe that's like your outlet. You know how like men, they say are gang members, women, maybe they have sex. So it's just like, wow. But when I was like in my teenage years, there was a few options when you became pregnant as a teenager. They had Plan B, you know that pill?
Yeah.
You can get an abortion, you can hide it from your parents and then have the baby and like have it in a garbage can or something. That's terrible. But that was the option. And of course adoption. Or you could just keep it.
Yeah.
The only thing about when you're really young and you don't have like the support or the help, prenatal care is not you don't have prenatal care, and then it'll have risks like high blood pressure and maybe even diabetes. So it may even make the baby come premature and all of that. But I believe, just like y'all said, if we could continue to educate or talk to women younger than us, we can help them make a difference. They don't have to, you know, go through life with a lack of resources.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So I know I said a lot, but that was basically my viewpoints on it.
Oh, thank you for sharing.
That's awesome.
That.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Yes. 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 Thank you for sharing that. And I had a question though. So Queen Nye, because you had the past, like it was kind of in the family for teenage pregnancy, were they more kind of protective over you, trying to ensure that that didn't happen with you? Did you kind of experience that?
Well, they made it known. They didn't hide it from us. So they told us what happened, what the situation was, or what they went through with it. My grandmother is a pastor, and my father had a kid, you know, when he was 15.
Right.
My first brother, well, my brother. So it was just like, wow, we in the church too. You know, I was raised in where I went to church at, born and raised. So it was just like, wow, we go to church. But all of this is happening in our family. But I think what helped me was basically, it wasn't no secret. They told us what it was, and they told us basically what we could do to prevent that.
Good.
So I think if I didn't have the knowledge or the education of like protection, even STDs and all of that stuff, maybe it would have been different. So I'm happy I had all of those resources.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, Queen Lady B, you wanted to share something?
Hey ladies, forgive me for that little missing piece. But no, this has been great. I really enjoyed you ladies sharing. Thank you so much for being so transparent and trusting us, and not just us, the world, with your stories and your testimonies. I'm looking at you guys and you wouldn't be able to tell if you didn't share. You know, you guys, you know, you look like you didn't go through what you just shared, and that's what it's all about. But one thing I want to touch on that I think is so important. I mean, of course, you ladies, you conquered, you know, every trial and tribulation, or, you know, every rough situations you may have had with being a teen mom. And I commend you for that. Like Nye said, just because I was young, I wasn't a teen, but I was 21 when I had my son. I still consider that young. I was still learning myself. And, you know, it was a lot that happened with me emotionally in learning myself. So I get that whole younger mom piece, but I think that there's a bigger message here. It's so interesting that everybody was from the church.
Right.
And
it's
so interesting that everyone didn't have anything that great to say about the church. So what I want to say, so that was my piece in encouraging the teen moms. But what I want to say to everyone that's watching, if there's leaders, like these are situations that will often arise. Be careful how you go about it, you know, because the way you go about it can determine whether somebody continues to go to church or not, continues to that, you know, Christian walk or getting to know God. So that would be the point I want to make right now is just everyone, even if you're not in the church, if you're not a leader, if you're a family member and someone is experiencing that and they trust you enough to open up to them, don't bash them, don't embarrass them, don't talk about them behind their back, embrace them. And I think that's the number one thing the ladies have shared today, that they were looking for that love, or that, you know, someone that they feel like they can confide in and walk them through the process of being a younger mom. And like I said, it's going to happen again. It happens. And it's it's a well-known situation that we all know someone who may have, including, the ladies, of course, that just shared. But my main message and my point will be to be careful. If you're a leader, or if you're a pastor, or if you're whoever, a deacon, a deaconess, and there's someone in your church and you hear by word of mouth, because we know how we church folk, they love to talk. Some of them love to talk. Don't shame the person. Don't make them feel worse. They're already scared. They're nervous. They know they made a mistake. Nobody needs to keep hearing you made a mistake. We know that. We all make mistakes every day. So just take time out to embrace them. If you're watching, embrace them and just love them and let them know that it's going to be okay. And you ladies rock for sharing your story. So thank you.
I'm so glad Lady Bree brought that up, because I have a best friend that her child's father is a pastor. No, her child's godfather is a pastor. I think I'm saying it wrong. My best friend, child's father, godfather is a pastor, right? And he would not Christian the baby that they have now, because they were not married. Thank God for the leaders that we have. Our pastor allowed it to happen. So my pastor actually allowed her to have the baby dedication. I think it was about a year ago now. At our church. And I was just so thankful, because he's not traditional.
Absolutely.
Because we don't have no heaven and hell to put people in, just like our leaders say. So I was just so excited that I could help my friend have this baby dedication, because although they don't have a church home, they wasn't married just yet. They're gonna get married in July. I'm the maid of honor.
All right.
They was able to make sure the baby got Christian. So I really applaud my leaders, and I was truly thankful for that. So there's a lot of church hurt there, but we made it happen.
Wow. All right. Queen Emma, or I know Queen Jack, her voice is not, did you want to share? I don't know if you want to say a little something.
Y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to say thank you as well to Queen Tammy and Queen Nija. Y'all can hear me? You serious?
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you as well, because your stories were deep and they were real. And thank you for sharing that to the world. But I also want to say that growing up in church is real. It is very real. And it's the survival of the fittest, basically, because it's a lot of peer pressure. I don't have any kids, but to have the pressure of being perfect, the pressure of your parents being entitled. So you have to be like, oh no, I can't do that because I don't want to embarrass my parents. So growing up church is very real. But to Queen Joe, I knew about some of those services because I worked in Patterson for a transportation company, and we worked with welfare. And there was a lot of programs that women can go to if you're pregnant and you can't, any resources. But I would say growing up, start with Planned Parenthood. If you don't want to go anywhere else, you can start there, because they always have a lot of information and they've been around for a long time. And although you may not want to go to your parents, that's another thing, being scared to go to your parents. So sometimes you have that good friend that can lead you and direct you to what to do, where to go. Like I have a best friend, and her sister is the one who kind of, if I was scared to talk to my sister or my mom, I went to her and she kind of lead and guided us to go to like Planned Parenthood. And it started from there, and they gave you a lot of information and a lot of help. So if you're scared, or if you're going through, you don't know what to do, and even they have pregnancy tests. So if you want to start there as well. But like B said, that's what I try to be careful as well, because when someone is pregnant, they got to come and they got to tell their parent, and the parent may be someone in church. So they have to reveal that to the church. They already getting beat up. They already scared. They already in another state. So let's not beat them up. Let's try to communicate. Let's try to talk to them. Let's love on them still. Let them know that I know you made a mistake, and you know you made a mistake. So it's no need for me to beat you up about this mistake. So I'm just going to hear what you have to say. And if you need someone to talk to, I mean, it's limited because I don't have any kids. So I don't even know, but I can point you to maybe someone that may have that information for you. But yeah, let's love on our young people. Let's love on our young mothers. Let's love on them, because it may be someone that was so scared that they went and got an abortion because they did not want to be embarrassed. Mm-hmm. So we So whether pregnant or not, let's just love on our young people that are like 20 years old and younger, because you just never know.
Right.
And that's all I have to say.
I would like to say myself, I know we're called Queen's Quarters, and I would like to extend Queen's Quarters to any of our listening audience. If you have any issues that you feel that you need to share, you can please reach out to us. We'll try to help you find the resources that that you might need to help you out. We want to encourage people in this day and time. It's rough, and we want to encourage people to live and not die. You know, God has you on this earth for a reason, and I believe that if you keep living, you know your purpose. And I believe our purpose is to serve others, serve everyone that who God put in our path. We love you. We love our listening audience, or else we wouldn't have this show. This is a service show to help other people. And we thank you. We thank you, ladies, for coming on. We definitely appreciate you for sharing your story. It was well put, well said. And I believe what you shared will help other people out here. And I just want to thank you again.
Queen Tracy and Queen Emma, before I close out, did you want to share anything? No, it's Queen Tracy and Emma?
No, I just want to thank the ladies for sharing their stories with us. You know, the word is knowledge is power. And, you know, one good thing is that it's good to know that it's not just happening to you. And that's important a lot of times with a lot of things, old and young people. Is you go through some issues because you feel like, oh my God, this is what's happening to me. But we want you to know that it's not just happening to you. And like Tai said, like Queen Tai said, you can, if you have some issues that you need, you don't necessarily have to address it on Queen Quarter vocally like this. You can contact us through our email, different social medias, you know, to let us know that you need to be contacted and give us your contact information. And someone from Queen Quarters will be able to help you or direct you or guide you, get you some information, whatever it is that we can do to help. Because like Ty said, we're service oriented. So we love you and we care about you.
Well, Queen Tans, I would just like to just reiterate what I said before. As parents, we have to change the way that we do things. We have to start paying more attention to our children. Take that time out to do it. We had a show about affirmations, and we get, you know, and what we have to do is start speaking those affirmations to our daughters, to our sons, letting them know how valuable we are. And Queen Todd, thank you for bringing that up. We all have queens in front of our names, and it's for a reason, because we are kings and we are queens. And so we want to share that to our listening audience, that you are a king and you are a queen as well. And another thing I would like to add, as a parent, you know, sometimes we're really tough when these kind of things happen on our children, because as parents, we know how difficult it is. And I'm not giving no excuses to us as parents, because there's no book that comes with being a parent. But we have now experienced how difficult it is to raise a child. So, you know, we know how difficult it is to still achieve your goals when you have a baby. So I think as a parent, that's where the disappointment comes in, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. And despite what anybody say, despite what your money say, a child is a blessing, and it is a blessing from God. So like I said, thank you all for sharing your stories. Queen Joe, thank you for being here, giving your resources. We just appreciate you all.
Yeah. Queen Joe, did you want to give us those numbers before you had to leave? I know you were leaving, you have to go.
Yes. I have two numbers, teen pregnancy hotline numbers that anyone can call to reach out to seek help as it relates to teen pregnancy. The first number is 800-672-2296. That's a teen pregnancy hotline that, anyone can call to seek help with their pregnancy. The next is it's entitled Youth Line, and that telephone number is 877-968-8491. You can call either one of those numbers to seek help with any teen pregnancy questions or concerns that you may have.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, everyone, you have been a part of the Queen Quarters.
Can I say something before you finish?
Absolutely.
I just want to say I'm honored and humbled to have been invited to be amongst such great, powerful Black women. And I thank y'all for the invitation. I know Queen Naja might have left already, but she don't even know that while she was speaking, it's a saying where they say your trials come to make you stronger. She showed so much strength in her testimony.
Yes, she did.
I don't even think she realized, how much strength she was showing in her testimony. And if I could have said anything to her, it would have been to keep her faith in God, keep pushing, keep trusting Him. Growing up in the church, I don't think my relationship with God was where it is now, of course, but I wish that I would have trusted Him more. Then I probably wouldn't have had to put my trust in man, and it probably wouldn't have hurt it as bad, So, and like Queen Nas said, belong to a church that, love you through your mistakes. It's the same situation with my church where, we baptize and we, offer children to Christ, and baptisms and christenings and all of that for people who are not married, because children really are not a mistake. If you're here, God had a plan, it was His will, and you should have been here, So I just want to say thank you all, and I really, really, really appreciate the invitation.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we're not going to ask you to sing anything, Queen Tammy.
Please don't.
That's the next show, the next time.
Oh gosh.
Oh, we thank you so much, everyone, all the viewers and kings and queens out there. Just be encouraged and know that there's a queen and a king in you. Always remember to follow us on our social media platforms. And remember, we will be here with you again next Wednesday. Tune in. And also, if there's any topics that you want to hear or that you need help with, like Queen Ty has said, queensquarters@gmail.com. You can DM us on all of our social media platforms, Facebook. You can hit us with a comment on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. There's all kind of ways to get in contact with us, but make sure you pay attention to Queen Joe when she had mentioned those pregnancy hotlines. Any teen-to-teen crisis, counseling, all of that is available to you. Thank you so much. And until next Wednesday, we'll see you again.
Bye.